and everyone will just be like,
The webway has finally brought you here. Behold, Forge the Narrative.
Hey everybody, welcome to Forge the Narrative. My name is Paul, your host. We are the Battle of Souls podcast. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri,
evening, everybody.
Red Powell, and Tanya Gates.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
This is going to be about the Codex Aeldari. I'm very excited to talk to you about this. Big Aeldari fan, Craft World fan, and this book is probably one of the largest codexes. This is probably going to be the largest codex in this edition, like thickness-wise.
Yeah, is it actually bigger than the Space Marine one?
I will put them next to each other, but if it isn't, it's close.
Nice.
There's a ton in here. So there's Harlequins, there's Corsairs, there's Craft Worlds and all the various Craft World rules, all the various units. Aeldari have a fair amount of units, and it's jam packed with lore, pictures. Anyway, I think it's a great looking book, and it's got a bit of heft to it. It would be impossible for us to get through it all in one show. So we'll probably do it like we normally do, which is, hit some of the highlights, come back later and talk about some lists and see how people are kind of living the book on next week's show.
Nice.
There are some big new things in here.
Is it weird that I'm not excited for this book? That I have some trepidation about an Aeldari book? Every single edition, my trepidation rises.
Let me...
I mean, we didn't have any problems with the last Dark Eldar Codex that came out, right? I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah, zero. Yeah, zero.
I'm
what could go wrong?
surprised. I'm surprised they didn't put Jakari in this book also. Like, there's...
Just chalk them in there.
There are a couple of mentions to Jakari, but I won't... no spoilers yet. But I will say, as someone that is wishing to embark upon a journey to become the best Dark Angel player, you should figure out a plan to deal with
Yes. I need a very specific plan. Yeah, it's a thing. It's gonna be a thing, guys. If I'm truthful, there's two things I'm really excited for about this book. One of them being, I really want to see Harlequins not be a bit player in this book, and I really, really, really want to see Aspect Warriors come back to the fore as being one of the primary ways to play it.
Yeah, as far as like
make it one of those things.
Well, so as far as how people like treat their Harlequins, as far as a force within this, as part of a combined Aeldari thing, I think jury's going to be out on that for a little bit. But they certainly can still play them, as a viable force. And I can promise you will see Aspect Warriors come to the forefront.
Fantastic.
I don't mind saying, hand to heart, I just bought some Swooping Hawks, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there are lots of options. Like there's also ways to make the Aspect Warriors a lot more flavorful. So if you are, let's say you're an Aspect Warrior enthusiast for a particular one, there's even ways to differentiate your units and give them character. And it's not just going to see the same. It's not like looking at 30 Howling Banshees on the table. They could each be performing different functions on the table for you, and which of course leads to different modeling opportunities. If you want to build in a little lore to your own list, there's stuff there. I think that people will definitely be playing with more of the Aspect Warrior stuff.
Nice.
We'll get there. The Games Workshop was nice enough to send the Codex to us, and I also got my hands on some of the new Guardian models. And first thing I did, built them, compared them to my old Guardians, and they're pretty comparable size-wise. They are on larger bases. They're on the 28.5 millimeter bases instead of the 25 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
But height-wise and composition-wise, they're very similar. Of course, they don't. The old ones don't have this dynamic of the poses and come with all the bits and stuff. Like what I did was I built Storm Guardians out of these because I didn't have a lot of Storm Guardians before. So It's kind of cool that it did not invalidate like my old Guardians, and I'm able to either build some poses and stuff. They don't have leaders in the squad, but if you wanted some variety in your unit, you could pretty much mix them in, and like eye-wise, they're not going to stick out that much. So for a long-time collector and player, that's pleasing to see. But
fantastic as well.
They do look cool. Like the kit comes the Guardian kit comes with a bunch of sprues, all kind of bits, all kind of weapon options. You get all the weapon options for the platform, including the new, I think, Serpent Shield platform. And then all the special weapons for the Storm Guardians, the Flamers or the Meltas. Yeah, it's just cool. Where do you want to start? I guess right at the, how about the Strands of Fate?
Let's do it.
Strands of Fate and Battle.
I mean, is it a direct copy
of...
For Miracle Dice?
No, but it does function in similar. It's like you do have to roll dice, and you have to keep track of those dice. So this is interesting. So the number of dice you roll the number of dice that you retain is based on the size of the battle. So a Strike Force mission, you retain 4 dice. If every unit from your army has the Asuryani keyword and is drawn from the same craft world, excluding models with the Athray or unaligned keywords, then at the start of each battle round, you can make a Strands of Fate roll. To do so, roll 6d6. You can then retain a number of these dice depending on the size of battle you're playing as shown below. So Combat Patrols 2, Incursion 3, Strike Force 4, Onslaught 5. Keep these retained dice to one side as a reminder of their results or make a note of them. In each instance of a dice result allows you to manipulate a different type of roll. A die roll of 1 lets you manipulate the advance roll, 2 charge roll, 3 psychic test, 4 hit roll, 5 wound roll, 6 saving throw. So you get to basically turn one of those, for anything in that category, to a 6.
Okay.
You need a charge roll, one of those dice becomes a 6.
Yeah.
If you rolled a 2, if you retained a 2.
Yeah. So there's going to be turns where this feels like it's utterly broken, and there's going to be turns where this feels like it doesn't even make an impact. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting mechanic. There's a lot of depth to it. It's kind of exciting. I'm worried it's too good, but as I said before, I said the same thing about Miracle Dice. I said the same thing about a bunch of other mechanics in the game. I said the same thing about Power from Pain and whatnot. And yeah. I'm excited to see how this one pans out. On face value, I think this is phenomenally cool.
So there's a little bit of a balance here, and it's important to mention, is that if that type of roll involves 1d6, do not roll the dice. That roll is treated as an unmodified roll of a 6. If a roll involves more than 1 dice, then you only roll the other die. You treat 1 as a 6 and roll 1 die. So it's not like you roll a 2 and a 1 and turn your 1 into a 6 or whatever.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that is actually a really good thing, because it's not like I guess it was like, here we go for orcs, where you got to roll 2 dice and you can reroll one of them or both of them in the past. But I think that mechanic's quite good. Like, so if you want to make that, so what it means to me is that you're always going to be able to make a 7-inch charge. Like, as long as you've rolled one of your fate dice for the charge phase, you're always going to be able to make a bet on having a 7-inch charge, which isn't crazy. Like, that's not a crazy thing either. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that if I have a wise orator chaplain that gets off his litany, I can pretty much bank on having a 7-inch charge every turn, pretty much of the same effectiveness. Where it gets spicier is all the other stuff like the morale phase, because that's one of them. Yeah.
It is not one of them.
I was about to say, if the morale phase was 1 and you could have 6s in the morale phase, it's kind of janky fun that you'd be able to pick yourself out of wraps and all that stuff, but fair enough. They dodged that. They dodged that mess. Because that would have been another spicy bit of weirdness. Where I see this is the biggest issue is the shooting phase.
Yeah. So, you don't think charge phase? Because, I mean, I think that when you've got, we've all failed 7-inch charges.
Yeah, we've all failed.
We've failed 3-inch charges.
As huge as it is, I do feel like most armies in the game have a reliable way to make 7s. I feel like, Power from Pain with the royal charges for Advance and Charge for Drakari. Like I said, with the chaplains, orcs just having innately or being evil sons for +1s, etc. Most people have ways of making reliable charges. The things that I'm worried about, double check for me, Paul. Can you use that for a damage roll, or does it have to be a hit, a wound?
Advance,
can it be
charge, psychic, hit, wound, saving throw. So no damage, no more.
Oh, no damage. Good. Yeah. Good. Okay. Whew. Okay. Bit of stress just left my body. My soul is alleviated.
I'm glad y'all are feeling better about some of these things. I'm glad we're having this talk to make everybody's blood pressure go down about some of this stuff.
Well, it's good because I don't want to be the naysayer or the doomsayer, but there's a track record for these codexes being a problem.
So
I think from
Aeldari typically very good at high damage, very lethal, very fast, very lethal.
Yes, yeah, very hard to come to grips with as well. Like remember the days of wolf spiders in 6th and 7th edition? You're just trying to box with smoke.
Yeah. Speaking of, let me jump over to Battlefocus for a second, because this Battlefocus is going to come up a few times during the course of this conversation, and I think there is a little bit of inherent kind of balance built into it. So Battlefocus is the unit is eligible. This unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced, but if it does so, then until the end of the phase, models in this unit can only make attacks with assault or pistol weapons they are equipped with, and when resolving those attacks, the unit is treated as having remained stationary. In your shooting phase, after this unit has finished making its attacks, unless it fell back or advanced this turn, the unit can make a Battlefocus move. When it does so, roll 1d6. Each model in the unit can make a normal move up to the distance in inches equal to the roll, as if it were your movement phase. A unit that makes a Battlefocus move cannot embark within a transport a model at the end of that move, and until the end of the turn, such a unit is not eligible to declare a charge. A unit cannot make a Battlefocus move if it arrived as reinforcements this turn, and a unit cannot make more than one Battlefocus move per turn. There's one other call out here. Battlefocus moves through area terrain. If a unit makes a Battlefocus move and any of its models wish to move over any part of an area terrain feature, subtract 3 inches from the distance models in that unit can move when making the Battlefocus move to a minimum of 0. This penalty applies even if every part of that area terrain feature is 1 inch or less in height, but is not cumulative with any other penalties that area terrain feature may impose, e.g. the difficult ground terrain trait.
Well, I think we're due for more craters, boys. What do you think? Well, and girls, apologies.
One of the things that we've talked about is assignment of keywords to your table in advance of actually playing the game. And, maybe this makes, if you have those features on the table with the right keywords, this may not be out of hand in some games.
So back in the day, in the bygone eras of what I mentioned before, 6th and 7th edition, there was was it jetpack or jump pack? I think it was jetpack. The jetpack rule meant you could move after firing. You could essentially move, shoot, move.
That's correct.
And so this is now essentially army-wide, right? I think it's on infantry though. Yeah, you don't have it on like war walkers and wave serpents and stuff, do you?
It is a special rule that has to be on the unit itself, and it's not on every unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not on the Star Weaver, for instance. It's
that once again that they've got an ultra powerful ability, like possibly one of the best abilities in the game, with some big caveats on it. The D6 is huge here. Like, praise be, they didn't just decide to do this as like a flat 3 or flat 5 or Lord forbid, a flat 6 on that move. But the D6 means this isn't a reliable anything, but it could be an absolute mind-bendingly incredible. Yeah. The ceiling is so high.
There's some drawbacks there. You can only fire certain types of weapons. You can't do this, can't do that, and then you've got this potential drag on where you might have been expecting to be, like back on an objective or something.
Yeah. So you can only use this ability if you've only fired pistol or assault weapons. Was that correct, or did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, you use it. So, unit is eligible to shoot in a turn which it advanced, but if it does so, the model in the unit can only make attacks with assault or pistol weapons.
Yeah,
you don't have to have fired them. Yeah. If you choose to fire, it would have had to have been those weapons.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I mean, so like you said, I've seen the jetpack deal go down. I mean, I remember seeing that, and it's not like we haven't had to deal with fire and fade, right? It's just now it's almost an army-wide aspect. I totally agree that the balance, the area terrain piece is a huge balance. But I think, again, we start talking about these tactics and the mechanics and how the game is coming together in certain ways where we're seeing these awesome tactics, things that you should do, right? You move to a position where you can engage appropriately, and then you fall back to a position that provides appropriate cover and protection. I think it's awesome, and it's going to make for a great game, and I'm glad it's not just like it just randomly walks away from itself.
I'm envisioning things like Dire Avengers and Guardians, things that already innately have assault weapons, just being ultra dynamic, like either because they one of the things we'll say about things like their infantry is they usually have very specific bandwidths of efficacy. Like a Guardian doesn't do a thing at 13 inches, like literally 0, unless you pull a platform with it. Like couldn't be worse. Couldn't be a worse unit.
What?
Guardsman 10 times better at 13 inches than a Guardian, because it actually does a thing.
Come on,
But
man. Shuriken Catapult is
fact-
18 inches.
Oh, it's 18 inches now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy with
All
that
things are solid.
opportunity to state.
So you just got to say
okay.
they're not good at 19
No,
inches.
Exactly right. Replace everything I just said with 19. And the Guardian, the comparison with Guardsmen, never heard of them. But yeah, like they have very specific ranges of which they're efficient, but within those ranges they are horrific. They are really, really, really potent. And so what I'm visioning is like a unit of Guardians, runs up the board. They used to move 7 inches. I'm assuming they still move around that.
Yes.
They move 7. They're a couple. They go off a little bit adjacent to where they want to be on an objective. Kill a unit. They've advanced as well, and then they just dash and get them onto the objective at the same time, and you get so much more bang for your buck of your generalship and your positioning and your movement phase.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be fast. Going to be kind of difficult to predict where they're going. I think originally, 'cause some of these moves, like especially consolidate moves, they had to be towards the close to this, close to that, with very few exceptions. There are no rules on that on this type of move. Go forward if you want. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
The thing that leaps to mind, and like Red said, we've seen Fire and Fade be a mechanic for a long time. I feel like if Fire and Fade is still a strat, you're still way more likely to use that on, say, your big brick of Dark Reapers than this. So what's the base size? So let's talk about some math and some metrics for a moment. Let's say you want to be exactly like on the other side of a wall, and then 1 inch will get you back back to the other side of the wall again. You'd have to be on a 25, right? A 32 would be too big.
These are on the Guardians is in this example are on the 28.5 millimeter basis.
Is that I don't know what that
over
is
an inch,
because I don't live in the Freedom Eagle land, whatever it is.
I think the 25 millimeters are
inch?
about an inch. These are larger
Yep.
than an inch.
Okay, so then theoretically, if you are a 25 mil base, you can just be 1 inch on the inside of a wall, jump out, shoot, and then no matter what you roll, you're going to make it back on the inside of the wall. What is spicy there, though, is you're within an inch of a wall. Anybody can tap you. Anybody can fight you because you're within an inch of a wall. So you may think you're safe, but you may not be.
Yeah, you don't want to get tangled up with your Toughness 3 frames.
There are 25.4 millimeters in an inch. Thank you very much. So yeah, 25 mil gets 0.4. That 0.4, baby. I want to see teams. I want to see like on army lists for like the Thursday show and stuff, and just being like DAT dat 0.4, and everyone will just be like, "He's just playing an army of 25 mil bases." Doesn't matter if the units are good; they're all on 25s.
Yeah. So there's fire and reposition, which is a stratagem that the outcast units can do, and then there's a stratagem called matchless agility that allows you to treat your battle focus roll as just a 6.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's essentially the same thing.
Yes. But it's it's spread out because fire and reposition use a stratagem when an outcast unit from your army makes a battle focus move, and any of its models wish to move over any part of area terrain features. This unit can move the full distance rolled, not subtract 3. So the Rangers can move around.
Outcast, is that just the Rangers? And I was interested to know how integrated the Harlequin units are. Are they is it just like Harlequin strats sprinkled throughout all the craft world ones, or they've got their own dedicated section? And is Ynnari the same with their own dedicated section in the book?
They are sprinkled through within the stratagem section.
Okay, yeah.
So
but then presumably they'd have their own psychic tree, they'd have their own warlord traits, etc.
They do. Yeah, they do.
That's exciting. I'd be very happy to see Ynnari be a non-overpowered faction in the meta again. That'd be great.
There are 6 pages of stratagems, and there are 6+ pages of psychic powers. It was the point where I was like, "What did they get rid of the runes of battle?" Because I feel like I've read all the psychic powers. Oh wait, there's a whole nother 2 pages of
You just glazed over.
Well, when you first get a book, I do the same thing. I like, oh, let me just flip to the to the parts that I really want to see. And one of the things I wanted to see was, how the warlock powers, if they kept the dual powers in there.
Yeah.
And
did they?
Oh yeah, they did. I know.
We did actually answer if they did or not.
But yeah, we'll hopefully we get there as far as that goes. Another one of the main rules, in the section is that the favorite of Cain, and this is a rule that's on the Phoenix Lords, gives them a 4+ invulnerable save and the model can lose a maximum of 3 wounds per phase, and they can also never have a relic or warlord trait.
Sick. I mean,
they've got 6 wounds apiece.
How many wounds?
So,
I was about to say, how many? If they've got 9 wounds, that's a huge deal. If they've got 3 wounds, who cares?
Yeah,
but 6, yeah.
They have 6, and I think we were kind of talking just a little bit that maybe it buys them a free turn of where they get to kind of go off and complete an agenda for you and maybe get a turn of reprieve.
Well, that's exactly right. So if you're only going to get shot, there's like one shooting phase of the game where you don't need to bodyguard them. If you're confident they can only be shot, they can't be shot and smited, etc. Which is kind of cool. Like that's kind of cool. I wish that'd be a mechanic that was on more of that level of unit.
I'm surprised the Avatar doesn't have it. I mean, but the Avatar can have damage, or does. Have damage, incoming damage.
That's a unit I can't wait to see on the table. Don't care about Wraith Knights. Don't care about so many other bits and pieces. Shining Spears. Take your turn at the bottom. They're probably still good though. But I'd love to see the Avatar be an actual thing, like be a scary thing again.
He is definitely going to be. This is one of those things that I know this is going to cause folks to lose their mind. Is that the Aspect Warriors have the core keyword?
Good. Why is that bad? Sorry,
well, no, it isn't bad. It's not bad at all. But core, as evidenced by certain codexes, Red can maybe speak to this. Marine players can maybe speak to this about it's everywhere, or not, I should say everywhere. It's in a lot of places in the Marine book. Not always something distributed around every codex seemingly equally. With precision, deliberately it is sprinkled around, but maybe not always to the saturation that everyone wants. But like the Avatar Arcane buffs up core, Asurani core around them. Like the units. Well, in addition to the combat attrition test, but you can reroll charge rolls for rolls around the Bloody-Handed God here, and I think cool. That you can make an Eldar force that is on you turn 2. Not just on you. There's nowhere to escape them.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. Because 9th edition it's actually a really interesting kind of case study. Like, is 9th edition a shooting edition? Is it a melee edition? Is it a freaking defensive? Is it an MSU? Is it a horde? It's going through a lot of ebbs and flows. I mean, it's a testament to the book if it can do all those things. Like if it can have viable.
I've been staring at this book, and I'm like, I still don't have any idea about what army list I want to take.
Good. It's the best thing you could say, right?
It's very similar in composition to the Orc Codex and the depth that exists there.
How do you feel about that, Red? See, I wish there was more things like so. Do you know how the Aspect Warrior Phoenix Lords do things for their Aspect Warrior counterparts?
Yes.
Like give them OBSEC, etc.
Well, if anyone listening did not know that, they do that.
They do that. It would have been cool if there was more things like that to activate the core keyword. Take a unit of destroyers that don't have core, but you took a destroyer lord, now they do have core. More of the things we saw, if 5th edition used a lot of those metrics, like Nob Bikers. If you had a war boss on bike, Nob Bikers became troops in your combined arms attachment. A little bit of, I don't see that wholesale again, because that led to some very silly things in the 5th edition, but a little bit of that. Phoenix Lords and Aspect Warriors being a great concept, like case in point. They half did it, and they probably did it enough anyway, given them OBSEC's pretty big.
There's some neat stuff in here. Baharoth, I think, is going to see some play. He's the Phoenix Lord of the Swooping Hawks, and he has the ability called Cloud Strider. When this model consolidates or makes a battle focus move, and the Swooping Hawks have this is only for battle focus, not consolidate. You can instead remove this model from the battlefield and set it up again anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So that's an instant boost up into the sky and come down completely across the board if necessary.
Now, if anybody doesn't know who Baharoth is, it's fair enough. He is the flattest model in 40k. He's like literally like paper. If you look at him like at one direction, he's not even a 3-dimensional figure. He's a 2-dimensional figure. It's quite impressive.
There was a great article on the miniature design from this time period in White Dwarf a year or 2 ago or whatever.
Yeah,
and they really just made the most out of what they could get out of that one press. 2-piece mold.
Yeah. exactly right. These are all press molded. They weren't injection filled like the wonderful world, and they weren't 3D rendered or whatever they do, the computer rendering. So I mean, for the times, these things looked great. I remember looking at Karandras and Fugan as a preteen and just like oogling. Funnily enough, I've two of them have been updated now. We've got new
Janzar and Morgan Ra.
Morgan Ra, yeah. Can't wait to see Karandras. Can't wait to see Fugan. Can't wait to see Baharoth. Is there a shining? There isn't a shining spear X Phoenix Lord, is there?
There is not. Well, okay, there isn't.
Is there one in the fluff?
Codexes. I think there is one in the lore.
That would be cool. That'd be a cool day.
I think technically they all exist. Like even the what's the Wraith something Shadow Specters. Like I think every shrine has one.
Yeah.
But don't quote me on that. I'm not. I just believe that.
No, they do. They do.
Quote Red. I don't know.
Then tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. I'll take it.
But Baharoth, being able to get in there, mix it up in combat with a 6 attack, strength 5, neg 3 AP, 2 damage weapon. Each roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. So he's going to do some damage even for being a shooty guy, and then just get out of dodge and go get on an objective maybe. And the Swooping Hawks themselves got an increase of their last blaster strength to assault 4, strength 4. And then each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target. I got 4 shots apiece. You can take 10 of them. A lot of shots.
I mean, my intercessors say yikes. I get 3 shots with no rend. On my assault bolters, that is. I have to pay 2 CP to get double. They sound good. I've always liked Swooping Hawks. I've always been the guy who likes the traditionally bad aspect warriors in the rules. The coolest in the fluff, the worst in the rules. Scorpions, Banshees, Hawks. I'm not in love. I've never been in love with Reapers, Shining Spears. But they've always kind of been the best ones.
I've never been in love with Shining Spears. It's either they've been kind of marginal or like super good, where everyone knows that you're just really trying hard if you had them.
Yes.
So I'm just I've not included them in a lot of my list.
I think where I really saw the Shining Spears play out was, of course, with the Inari builds. I saw some of them in the Craft World Eldar builds, but really Shining Spears, we talk about 7th edition and just kind of run. Well, I'm going to hit you, and then I'm going to hit you again, and I'm going to just keep going. The explosions of actions, and we've talked about how that kind of mechanic, the extra actions and things like that, could just do so much more.
The Swooping Hawks are 18 points apiece, so a lot of this stuff is predicated on what the points are, and fully believe it. So 10 Striking Scorpions, Swooping Hawks, you're looking at 180 points. Probably still worth it though.
I mean, that's not cheap, but it depends if you can fly. I mean, they sound to me a lot like what we've seen from Cop Mechanicus AdMech with what are they called? The sterilizers, or is the Taraxi builds, where they're more of that quick, very hard to pin down harassment unit. Mind you, I'm not sure 4 shots at strength 4 -1 apiece is harassment damage, but we'll see.
Well, automatically wounding, that's on the 6s, and I kind of see them, to your point. Like you keep them in reserve till turn 3. They come down, they wipe out something that's already struggling or kind of hanging on. Trying to get some R&D, retrieving that data. Yeah, perfect thing. A lot of people are taking 6 I don't know what you call it, 6 insect units of Vespid. I was trying to think of a pronoun, but for a bug. But yeah, a lot of people are taking these 6 model units in order to get that reliable rod. In fact, I've seen Taraxi being taken in 6 mans for exactly the same purpose. So these guys could be a perfect option for that. If you can get away with keeping them, in the sky for that long, and then, I like how they can go from one side of the table to the other side, basically effortlessly is built into their system here, which is cool. Asherman, another one of the old school Phoenix Lords, the first. He has the rule first of the Phoenix Lords, has a 3+ invulnerable save. You don't see that every day anymore. No. Has anybody else actually got a 3+ invuln these days? That's come out recently? No, I don't think so at all. Whoa, cool. Yeah, so somebody can only lose 3 wounds per phase with a 3+ invulnerable save. So, look, I know we're jumping around, but Wraithguard may actually get a little bit of a resurgence, a little bit of a new lease on life.
This is what I'm actually really interested in. I've loved seeing the Wraith Knight and the Wraith Lord so far, but I don't feel like we've seen enough of the Wraith Guard in any of the previews yet. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say for them.
I don't know if this was been on a community article or not, but I'll read the war construct rule. So models in this unit can make attacks with ranged weapons even while their unit is within engagement range of enemy units. But each model can only make such attacks against enemy units that they are in engagement range of. In such circumstances, models in this unit can target an enemy unit, even if other friendly. So that's basically, anytime you see this in this codex, even if other units are locked up in engagement range, that would typically prevent you from being able to shoot. But they have a rule that lets them get around that, so they can fire their guns even if they're locked up in close combat. Toughness 6.
So it's like the
3 wounds.
Do they all have innate -1 damage? I think I heard that, or was that just the Wraith Knight?
A Wraithbone form. Each time an attack is allocated to a model in this unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimum of 1.
I mean, sounds good, right? I will say, if people who try to define 9th edition, I want you to come back to the next 2 things that I'll tell you have defined 9th edition in my eyes. The -1 damage on everything. Like, it just seems like every army gets a decent chunk of it gets a -1 damage, and the tactical rock being featured on every single model that has come out in the last 2 years. Adam's hot takes. There you go.
I built the Necron Destroyer, and it's like whole base it comes with a whole crop of rocks.
Well, when the Silent King designed it, he was like, you know what I want? I want a torso attached to a tactical rock. And bang, he made the destroyer. It was born.
It would be the true signs. It's plasma pistols and fancy rocks are the signs that you're dealing, with the Stone Cold Killer.
Is anybody else getting a bit and had enough of the -1 damage everywhere? I mean, it's just.
I play Custodes, so yes.
Hey, we're talking about
yeah.
models I like, so let's keep it down.
Funnily enough, when did they get that kit? When did the new-ish Wraith Guard kit come out? Because it wasn't forever ago, but it wasn't yesterday. I feel like it was 5th or right at the start of 6th.
So these guys are 40 points apiece. So
it's not
bad. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, once you start, you can't take everything that you think is cool in this book because there's too much cool stuff for one, but it's also kind of balanced out by the amount of points.
I have a dangerous road I want to take. I'm gonna try and take us down. Of all the models of the last couple of books that hit me in the feels that made me feel bad, the Wave Serpent was the top of that list. Tell me a story, Paul. Where are they at?
I don't know that you want to hear this story.
Okay, then don't tell me the story. Let's move on. Never happened. Edit it out. Get it in post.
You could put 12 Phoenix Lords in it. So if we do happen to find all the Phoenix Lords.
Yep, so it's got a capacity of 12.
Yeah, it does. Cool. Yeah, so let me go with the Wave Serpent Shield. The model has a 5+ invulnerable save against ranged attacks. Each time a ranged attack is made against this model, an unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 for that attack fails, irrespective of any abilities the weapon or model making the attack may have.
Red. Quantum shielding feels unique and fluffy now, doesn't it?
I mean, it's just like we're talking about the proliferation of mechanics and this advancement of technology as the codexes come out and everything. And so some of it, what's old is new and is new is old kind of cycles, but at the same time, it's still always iterating forward. You can see how they're developing the mechanics, and they're taking something, they're adding into it, and they're making it. And then when you put it in synergy of everything else, it becomes that much more. And so I think we've seen the synergy of armies compound throughout 9th edition, right? We were talking and joking about the core concept and everything and what that meant for Necrons before. And I think that they've gotten a plus up now, but it is definitely they're taking these other elements, they're bringing it together into what they have now, but it makes that much more of a difference, right? I mean, you take some of the aspects of the different aspect warriors and then bring in the parts of Battlefocus and everything else, and then add these other parts on top of it, and it's just okay.
Well,
it's going to take some adjustment.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's a really good talking point you just mentioned there between the synergies within armies. Just was the Decurion detachments the last time we saw this much synergy within armies, or is this even more than that?
I think we've exceeded beyond that. I know that there are a lot of bonuses to it, but no, I think that now and I'm not complaining by any means. Don't let it sound like that. I think that it's great, actually. As you said, Paul, adjustment. I think it is adapt or die, and that's exactly. I mean that's how warfare goes. It's okay.
Yeah, and please don't think I was saying anything bad about it there. I think that's a good thing. A deeper book's a good book. And if every book's deep, every book's good.
The shield discharge, talking about the Wave Serpent still, is a stratagem for 1 CP, and it works a little bit differently. So it's actually, I'm glad you brought it up. Use this stratagem at the start of your charge phase. Select one model from your army equipped with a Serpent Shield or Wave Serpent Shield. So remember I said the Storm Guardians get something else. Then select one enemy unit within 12 inches of that model until the end of the turn that enemy unit cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Each time a model in the enemy unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll. Then after using the stratagem, the shield is considered expended.
What do you make of it?
I think it's pretty cool. But it all lines up with it's like you can make a maneuver and supplement one of your other charging units. It has nothing to do with that unit that's doing that. You can I like when things work together.
I like it too. I think it's a slick little buff, slick little rule.
-1 hit sometimes real big deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Does it have invuln? Hasn't got -1 damage by any chance, has it?
No, that's the only thing that it has.
Awesome.
It does. Yes, I mean it has a 5+ invulnerable. The Wave Serpent has a 5+ invulnerable save.
That's what I was about to say.
Yes, but it doesn't do anything other than that. What we talked about with failing to wound on a 1-3.
And how many wounds? It used to have 13.
13 still.
A lot for a transport. Cool. Toughness 7.
Yes.
So T7, 13 wounds. Transhuman. And a little spicy shield with a 5+ invulnerable save. You used to be able to give it all these extra things like vectored engines and spirits.
You still can. And also the full complement of weapons on the turrets are still there.
Beautiful. So still got like an underslung twin shuriken catapult, and then you can have shuriken cannons, star cannons, whatever you want on the top.
Yep, and then the double on top.
Yeah, I honestly think it's just such a good platform. Like it's what a Razorback and an Impulsor wishes it was, and it has been the case for a very long time. Sounds like it's still going to stay true, but it doesn't matter though if this thing costs like 170 points or something.
It's 140 points without the weapons. The weapons are 10 points a piece.
Oh, 100, yeah, 100. Like I said, 170 would be crazy. 160 for maybe the best transport in the game. Fine, whatever. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Well, you got to also. I think that one of the benefits of this is maybe why it's even more important in an Aeldari or an Asuryani type book is that it's protecting toughness 3 things most of the time.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, sans Wraith constructs, nothing in the Aeldari, nothing in the Craftworld faction can take a hit. That's been the tale of time forever. But the way they got around that in the past, in times gone by, was they made themselves very hard to hit especially in last edition with a bunch of stacking minuses to hit. Now we know that's not the case anymore because you can't have more than a -1 to hit. So I'm interested to know if you've pulled out any other things that might make them more durable than they seem.
Let's tell you what. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about that. The ways we could talk about spicing up your different aspect warrior squads, and then maybe a little bit something on the relics. I told you there's a lot to cover. I don't know if we're going to get to it all this show. Back in a second.
FTN is brought to you by Discount Games Inc. Please visit them at www.discountgamesinc.com. And don't forget to ask Jay about ways to save even more on your hobby projects.
And we are back. Adam, you left us off with a cliffhanger. It's like, how durable are some of these units? And yeah, you're right. With all the -1s being kind of topped at -1 across the board. How are these units going to survive? Well, I'm here to tell you, some of them now have 5+ invulnerable saves.
That was fair. I mean, I know that GW previewed better armor saves and some invulns on selected units. I think it was it mostly the aspect warriors?
The aspect warriors, all have a 5+ invulnerable save at least, yeah.
It seems reasonable.
Including the Dire Avengers.
Because the Rendon, that's actually cool. Dire Avengers, I love Dire Avengers. They just seem like the workhorse. The workhorse.
Dire Avengers aren't troops anymore. Oh, and I will say that I was comparing sizes of models. The Dire Avengers a little bit bulkier, a little bit taller than Guardians. They're still taller, a little bit bulkier than the new Guardians. I'm telling you that you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to want the new Guardians because you're going to want to build out these different poses and potentially different variants of the squad. But still going to get to play with your models. I'll post a picture up on Twitter of the size comparison as soon as I can.
I mean, it's good. It's good, right? They just made some more dynamic, glow-upped Guardians. They didn't completely reinvent the wheel like they did with the Orc Boys. Well, I thought was a fair comparison. Yeah, they just did a glow-up. They didn't completely reinvent the wheel. Like, they didn't invalidate anybody's collections. I mean, I know there was still quite a bit of gnashing by the Orc community that their boys had changed at all. But, thankfully, they only changed a little bit. You can still get away with using the old boys because they completely redid them. I know people who have 200 plus painted Orc Boys, and they'd be like, "This guy is truly
never going nowhere." The Dire Avengers, they for a while they became troops. They're elites now, and so I think they're for a period of time there really wasn't. You didn't take Guardians all the time. You took Guardians sometimes because you wanted that 20-person squad. And then the weapon platform, you could really do some shenanigans with that weapon platform and then 20 bodies. And, it was basically, you could create quite the picket line to block off your double shooting Dark Reapers back in the day. So.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So sometimes you wanted those squads. But the Dire Avengers now back to elites, and they get all the rules for the same aspect warriors, like fire dragons, all got 5+ invulnerable saves. And there is a way to kind of beef up some Aeldari shooting. Well, obviously there is, but I mean specifically the Dire Avengers, and then I know we're probably not going to get to talk about all the craft worlds, but hey, I play and paint Beltane, so I'm going to mention them here.
Our babies, I think everyone's favorite. Some people like Ulthway, some people are weird and like Sam Hine because that one trick they did that one time that felt so good. But unanimously, the people's champions are the Beltane.
Yeah, they've had a rough go. Their craft world has had a bit of a stumble.
It's in some pieces, right?
It is. It basically goes on to tell about how the race steers are tirelessly working to try to patch this thing back together. And bless them. I hope they get that all figured out.
So the reason is it's a Beltane that's the most militaristic, or were they the ones that are most dedicated to the aspects?
Yeah, they become kind of rooted and dedicated to their aspects. So once they become an aspect warrior, they basically don't go back to being farmers, for some number of years, thousands of years or whatever.
I mean, like, you can see it, right? Sick. You just tend in your crop, and then you get a calling. You're like, what's that? I can be a movie star. And all of a sudden, you wake up one day and you're Leonardo DiCaprio, and then you expected to go back to tending your fields, and just not going to happen.
My Yvraine
Beltane
painted her in a green dress. I call it like her Beltane morning dress. That she's wearing in respect to the craft world.
Love it.
So we'll talk about them for a second here. Is that and also how it combos into making some Dire Avengers really good. But the attribute for the sword win is each time a unit with this attribute advances or makes a battle focus move, treat a roll of 1 or 2 as a 3 instead. That's 1 bullet point. And the next one is each time a unit with this attribute is selected to shoot or fight, you can re-roll 1 hit roll when resolving that unit's attacks. So certain times probably better than others where that 1 re-roll matters, but it's one more reroll than you had before.
It's true.
The relic. So here's the warlord trait. Natural leader. In your command phase, you can select 1 friendly Beltane core unit within 6 inches of the warlord until the end of the turn. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. It's not just reroll ones. You can reroll the hit roll.
Yes,
pretty strong.
I like this.
And that's Beltane core. Remember, I said aspect warriors, the core keyword. Lots of other things, core keyword as well. The relic is interesting. It's a Beltane Psyker model only. The bearer knows 1 additional psychic power from their chosen discipline. Once per psychic phase, you can reroll 1 psychic test taken for the bearer. Then the stratagem, the unique stratagem for this craft world is Wrath of the Shrines. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase. When a Beltane aspect warrior unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. And that is for Beltane aspect warriors.
Okay. So, so they've got exploding 6s. You're shooting or fighting. Okay. like you said, there's a lot to unpack there, and that's just this book, right? I mean, that's all books at the moment. There's so much to unpack for all the individual combos and different craft worlds or sub factions. Cool. I mean, do you think Foot Dark can be a thing again? Because that's my favorite build.
I do. Ever. I really do. I think that, but I don't know as far as like the shooting goes, but my mind gears towards the assault phase. But I definitely see running across the table with a bunch of one, you're going to have some Shining Spears in there. I'm going to break down. I'm going to get some Shining Spears. And don't hate. And then striking Scorpions, Howling Banshees, all with this little bit of increase in durability and the ability to buff out some distraction units, like with the Avatar Arcane on the table. I definitely think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's some things I was talking about buffing up the Dire Avengers in this case. So there's another stratagem, and so this is open to anyone, called Bladestorm. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase when an Asurani or Harlequin's unit from your army is selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a shuriken weapon, an unmodified hit roll is 6, scores 1 additional hit. So that's 1 CP.
Nice.
Yeah. So that plus the Beltane rule, I don't see how that doesn't stack and give you 2 6s.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
And
so every 6 will be...
every 6 is 2 additional hits.
So, I mean, you mentioned the unit you want to use this on before.
Dire Avengers, which, comes with...
I don't know. Swooping Hawks, baby. 4 attacks, 4 shots each. 6 is already auto wound, and for every auto wound, you get 2 additional hits. 4 shots apiece. Yeah, boy.
I'm with you, but hang tight. There's one more stratagem I want to talk about. Now, look, I know I'm already talking about we're about to be 4 CP deep in this scheme. So use this stratagem at the end of your shooting phase. Select 1 Dire Avenger unit from your army that is below its starting strength. That unit can shoot again.
Okay.
So you messed up. You killed one. You killed 1 Dire Avenger.
They get the double shoot.
Yeah. But
wow.
That thing is one, Dire Avengers only can have max 10 in the squad. There's no mob in this book.
Toughness 3 with a 4-up armor, 5-up invulnerable save.
Yes.
Nobody's killing 1 when they shoot at them. If they get to shoot at them, like what weapon out there? Oh, cool! I got my 10 Gretchen. Let's get them, boys. You got
to get the big brain play in there. So you got to get them when the Wave Serpent explodes and takes one of them with him.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
Then they're out.
You roll a 1 or a couple of 1s. They pop out, lay down the suppressing fire.
They're so mad that you killed their Wave Serpent that they just go nuts. I do think your idea about the layering those stratagems on the Swooping Hawks is good as well, but
I think it sounds nuts to me. Yeah, sounds good.
Ziz, one thing I want to talk about, especially before we get out of here, is also the relics. Now, won't go down every relic, but there's a cool thing in here that lets you assign relics in a different way that we've not seen in any codex. You can either take your 1 free relic, that everybody gets, and give it to an HQ or an appropriate model, replacing whatever the appropriate thing is on there, or you can choose 2 of a relic category that goes on Exarchs. So you can give Exarchs from an Aspect Warrior. Exarchs are like the sergeants in an Aspect Warrior squad. You can give them a relic instead, and you can sub out the 1 you would get normally to give an HQ and a leader or whatever, and give 2 to Aspect Warrior Exarchs.
I quite like that. It sounds to me like Aspect Warriors are going to be powerhouse units, and if it sounds a lot like what Black Templars do with giving, making relic bearers in the units. This one's specifically for the Exarchs in the unit, but they're like pseudo lieutenants as it is, because they've always been able to have a bunch of extra war gear that you couldn't get anywhere else. This sounds really exciting to me.
Yeah, here's the Phoenix Plume Swooping Hawk Exarch model only. I know it sounds like we're hyping up there. Swooping Hawks, only nobody's business, but they got a lot going for them. All right,
good.
So.
It's about time.
The bearer has a 4+ invulnerable save. Each time a model in this bear's unit would lose a wound, roll a d6 on a 5+. That wound is not lost.
Huh. Nice.
I mean, like I said before, it's probably not going to matter.
Yeah.
Their toughness 3 of that. I think they've still got a 5-up, if I'm right and remember, or have they got a 4-up now as well?
Their armor save you're talking about?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. They have a 4+. So
yeah, Toughness is 4+ now. I think all aspect warriors now unanimously have a 4+, or I think it's a 3+ on.
no, Warp Spies are
it-
3+. The heaviers are 3+.
Yeah. Dark Reapers, I think Fire Dragons as well.
Fire Dragons,
yeah, I mean, it's not gonna...
Striking Scorpions, also 3+.
Not, yes, the Scorps. Get in. Let's do it.
I mean, that's really it, right? Like we look at the Exarchs, and you're going to be able to build out some of the stuff that they have. I mean, we saw the preview on the Banshees and what they're able to do, and to make that one Exarch just a little bit more of a blender. It's like a witch or succubus light in some cases. That I think there's a lot of play that could happen with this, and the different options that all of the different aspect warriors offer, and those little relics here or there. That I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, we hopefully get time in the show to talk about the special abilities that you can give. You have to pay points for them. So all those like chapter upgrades to go to make a character a super character or whatever, or a more special, a more honored character. You can do the same thing for Aspect Warrior Exarchs.
I have a little thing I want to say for a moment. I'm just about Howling Banshees. And this is not to say that they're overpowered or they're too good. I think they are as good as they always should have been, because they should be amazing and you should feel awesome about taking them. But I think this is great to see, almost signaling by G-Dub how much they are willing to make you want to play with these iconic, amazing miniatures. So Howling Banshees at the moment, so prior to this book, were a joke. They were not good. And there's not very much you could have... Not much you could have done to make them worse in the previous edition. This one now, they've gone from what they were then, which was a toughness 3 unit with a 5+ armor save that could turn off Overwatch with the Banshee masks and got into combat with power swords, but had awful strength, and that's it. Now, what they had then to what they have now, they got invulnerable save. They got +1 to wound when they charge. They got advance and charge. They got -1 to hit to be hit. They've got you cannot set to defend or overwatch against them, and they have fights last. Tell me how many points they are, mate, because that's what I got from I got that from the community article, and those are all things they did not have that they do have now. Which, as a glow up, that might be the biggest glow up, but it means nothing if they're like 22 points a model.
No, they are 18 points a model.
Okay, cool. Whew. I was like, please don't say 14. Please don't say 12.
Just 10
okay.
points. No, they're 18 points a model. So they do. I mean, you pay for them, and the Fire Dragons are 23 points a model.
I mean, Fire Dragon's guns are very good now. But yeah, Banshees, guys, keep your eyes on them. I'm not sure if they're good or great or incredible or awful, but just for the amount of stuff they didn't have and now have, they're going to be a fun.
Well,
like,
when you start,
fun,
right? We haven't even talked about the Webway Gate. Like the Webway Gate's got some interesting rules. There's going to be things that people unlock and do, or builds that they take that are different than the next person's build, which is gonna be exciting. I mean, that's how I look at Codex. Like, is this Codex great? It probably is, because I'm already seeing like several archetypes that can be done from this. The Howling Banshees relic that we're talking about here is once per battle at the start of the fight phase. You can select one enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer and roll a d6 on a 2+. That enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds, and add 1 additional mortal wound for each charge move the bearer has made during the battle. So risky not to use it in the first time you charge, but it's some additional damage on top of what you're already going to expect to do when you get in there.
I love it. I love this stuff.
The Dragon's Fury, this is an interesting one, is that the Fire Dragon Exarch model only. Each time this bearer's unit is selected as a target of the charge, subtract 2 from the charge roll.
Ooh, that's nice.
Nice.
What I like about that is that I think you have to be very calculated when you launch assaults against units that have weapons that can paste you. And so if you were to attempt to launch a charge, they then attempt to overwatch, get lucky and kill a couple, because you got to think, if they hit, they're going to take a model out, and then you don't make that charge, that's a huge momentum shift.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, I can attest to the battle suits for Tau have a similar ability, and it's coming up everywhere. And I think it's even more poignant on Fire Dragons, because they have to be close to be used, right? You have to put them in a danger position, and then the retaliation is just can't happen because you can't make the charge. That's awesome. You could line that up with things like forests and whatnots as well. Or was there a caveat saying it can't be modified in addition to that?
No, I didn't see anything like that. No.
Ooh, nice.
Take your -4 and like it.
Yeah.
Or 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that about the max of whatever or doesn't count or whatever.
But man, you just see, fire dragons have gotten very little use in a very long time. The last time I remember fire dragons being scary, it was because you used to be able to put them in a raider, a dark Eldar raider, and deep strike the raider. That was the last time I remember fire dragons being scary. But now you think about like just 5 of them or 6 of them, whatever can fit in a falcon, jumping out their extra a bunch of inches, so they probably move 7 as well, jumping to getting out 10 inches, wasting something, moving back towards the Falcon D6. Maybe the Falcon gets in the way as well somehow, with a fire and fade or whatnot. And then you -2 to charge for everybody else who tries to get to you. It sounds awesome. It sounds really good.
Yeah, but how you put it all together in a list is going to be the tricky thing. And then there's even more kind of point sinks. This is classic case of just where do you invest your points, what do you spend your points on, that is focused to give you a great list instead of just a list of great things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be the trick. I don't have an answer for you, by the way, yet, because I'm still in the enamorment. Is that even a word? I'm enamored by.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, look, the splendor of this book and all the cool things. And then the Exarchs, they've got even like I said, all those bonus things. Each one of the shrines has 3 different things that you can choose from to upgrade your Exarch to if you wish. So for things like the Striking Scorpions, Crushing Blows is a 15-point upgrade. Each time this unit Striking Scorpion Exarch model makes an attack that targets a non-Titanic unit, if a hit is scored, that attack automatically wounds the target.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, automatically wounds pretty good.
It's well, is that the Blood of the Phoenix stuff that they used to have? They got in the Psychic Awakening. That's stuff to extra upgrade your Exarchs and things like that. Yeah, it sounds like that's something that's still there.
Similar in concept. Deadly Ambush. So some of these are conditional, and this is where I think it'll be like you'll remembering that you have them if you pay of course, probably if you pay the points for it, remember you have them, but engineering when to get to use them. Deadly Ambush, the same for Striking Scorpion still. While the unit contains Striking Scorpion Exarch model and is wholly within an area terrain feature, each time a melee attack is made by a model in this unit, add 1 to that attack's hit roll and improve the armor penetration characteristic by 1. Next one is the Scorpion Sting. Each time this unit is selected to fight, if this unit contains a Striking Scorpion Exarch model, until the fight is resolved, replace the ability of this unit's Striking Scorpion Exarch model's mana blasters with the following. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack that targets a non-vehicle unit, unmodified 5+, inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage.
Don't know how many more times I can say that's pretty good, mate.
Yeah. Well,
it's
the risk
good
of
stuff.
Sounding boring or whatever. Like there's in each one of these trees, there's some situational stuff, and then there's some stuff that applies, to the whole unit. And I think you're going to, like, my personal opinion is we'll see a lot of people gravitate to the things that benefit the whole unit as opposed to just one weapon or the one model itself. I'm very pleased.
And we haven't even talked about Ynnari or Harlequins.
No, or the Corsairs, or any of the Psyche powers, or any of the Craft World attributes. And we've been talking for an hour. Like,
yeah,
the book is deep.
I mean, just a drop in the bucket, right? One more step in our progress forwards in 9th edition. I think that we talk about the cycles and everything. Eldar returning to the scene is, especially after Psychic Awakening, right? There's always something as things roll out. We won't say Psychic Awakening was a new edition, but it did revamp almost every faction as it came about at the end of 8th. And Eldar and Dark Eldar were the first to really get Psychic Awakening, and there was a lot of awesome stuff to it. But as we saw, it didn't stand the test of time necessarily, especially as we moved into 9th edition. And so I think it's great to see how they're being brought forward, and I think it's just awesome that, again, we've been able to spend so much time just talking about Aspect Warriors and they're essentially their revival.
Yeah, a great point. We haven't talked about the chapter approved missions, things. There's typically a spicy one or two. There are special objectives for the Harlequins and Craft Worlds in this.
So no Ynnari ones?
No Unari ones.
Fair. I'm assuming that they'll get the option to take the craft world ones or possibly the Drukhari ones, or I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I've got no idea. But you assume they get the option to take some, because everybody gets the option to take some secondaries.
I'm sure they do. We'll check on that. We'll confirm all of that. So something about runes of battle. We'll talk just briefly about psychic powers. Each psychic power in the realms of battle discipline has 2 effects. Each of these effects is treated as a different psychic power. So the same psyker can manifest the same runes of battle psychic power twice in the same psychic phase, provided you select a different effect each time.
So you can do both sides of it in the same. That's very powerful.
Yeah. Horrify, the opposite of Embolden, has an extra little bit of effect. Look, I know we're running on, but I wanted to talk about some of these things that I think we'll see some play here. Select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of your next Psychic phase. Subtract 2 from leadership characteristic of that unit. And there's another bullet point. At the start of the fight phase, if that unit is within engagement range of any units from your army, the unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. I don't think that was how it was currently, but I'm not sure that the Craft Worlds had a super fight last until now.
Yeah, I don't believe they did. They may have, and it was changed to some obscure relic that didn't see much use. But yeah, I don't believe so.
Well, if they had it or didn't have it, I apologize, but I think it's like really relevant now that you're going to see a lot of people mixing it up, you know. And maybe that's going to become important. Then there's Jinx. Select one enemy unit. These are the Warlock powers, by the way. Select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of the next Psychic phase. Worsen the save characteristics of models in that unit by 1 to a maximum of 6+.
So is it essentially the same, or is that sorry?
Yeah, worsening the save by 1.
Yeah, fair.
That's similar to what it was before, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Is it any save to include invulns?
It just says save characteristic. It does not call out invulnerable saves.
Yeah.
And invulnerable saves are not a save characteristic. They're a save result you must achieve or something. You know, save characteristic is in the profile.
So your assumption is that's just the armor save.
Yes.
Only fixed armor saves.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't.
I can see that being.
There could be some like some language in an FAQ or something that's counter to that. But I think the save characteristic is up there in the movement, strength, toughness category.
Fair. Doom. Do I want to ask? Do I want to know?
Doom. You do want to know, especially
do want to know.
as someone vested in having their models still on the table.
That's right.
Doom has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches. Until the start of your next psychic phase, each time a Craft World Asuryani or Craft World Asuryani character unit from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. If the result of the psychic test was 10 or more, you can select one enemy unit within 24 inches of the psyker instead. So this is important. Almost all the, all the Runes of Fate, the powers that get cast by Farseers, have a bonus effect if you roll 10 or more.
Oh, well, what a coincidence you can auto place a 6 into that casting roll. What a coincidence. The picture just became clear.
And with Doom, it's the sequence is interesting here. Is that Doom has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches. So you cast it first, and then you nominate a unit.
And it's not visible either.
Yeah.
So you can keep your caster all nice and safe, tucked behind obscuring terrain, and be casting out like crazy.
Yep. Be on that jet bike and just like zoom up behind something, and then roll the dice, or give yourself a 6 and then roll one die, and maybe 24 inches away. 24 inches, a 24-inch bubble is huge, especially when you can move. Like you're talking about you could be somewhere on the table and functionally be everywhere on the table.
Yeah, and that guy will get to Battlefocus as well.
Yeah, or be on a bike and, like I said, I've already moved 14 inches, 20 inches, or whatever. So you're not getting away from Doom.
No.
You want to hear about Guide? I mean, that's.
You tell me, mate.
Guide has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Craft World Asuryani core or Asuryani character unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until you start your next psychic phase. Each time a model in the unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. If the result of the psychic phase is 10 or more, you can select one friendly Asuryani core within 24 inches. So, similar thing. Maybe boost that range up, but Full rerolls.
Same as it ever was. Seems real good.
Yeah. Fortune, more charge value of 6, 18 inches range until you start your psychic phase. Each time a model in that unit would lose a wound on a roll of a d6 of a 5 or more, the wound is not lost. So they'll feel no pain action.
As far as I can tell, these are all the same with a boosted caveat, right? Guide the same. But
increase the range
with a boosted
a lot of
caveat.
these, but yeah.
Yeah. Doom and Jinx both and all sound the same. I mean, they didn't have to do much to make them good. I mean, realistically, these two psychic trees, the two Aeldari, the Craftworld psychic trees, have been the best psychic trees possibly in the game since they came out in 8th edition. I don't think they've been superseded in the amount of efficiency and the toolbox nature that they bring.
Rivaling the Thousand Suns, this book does have 5 psychic trees in it.
Nice. I mean, one of those is Unari, one of those would be Harlequins. Actually, why would they have more than 4? What's the other one?
Well, the Revenant Discipline, the Runes of Fortune, the Runes of Fate, Runes of Battle, and then the Phantasmi Discipline, which is the Harlequins.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the runes of Fate, Runes of Battle. I'm happy to split up. Into their own things. Oh, sorry.
Then the Fortune is the Spirit Seers, and then the Unari powers. A lot of psychers in this.
A lot of psychers, man.
Yeah. I know we didn't even. Well, again. We covered 4 powers out of 5 trees here. So obviously there's more to this, but I feel like we've been going on a bit about this, and I want to give the listeners a bit of a reprieve until next week. It's a good book.
Well, Tanya's probably
you sound only mildly fond of it there, Paul.
I'm excited. It's I don't know if it's gonna how it's gonna upset or shake things up, but what we will see is that people will not know how to deal with the depth and complexity of this book for several weeks.
And I wonder if we're going to get a quick. I wonder if it's going to coalesce into a primary build quickly, or whether it's going to take a lot of time to disseminate where and how you want to play it.
I think there's going to be multiple primary builds. I mean, I really do. I think you can choose because look, we didn't discuss all the Craftworld attributes and stuff, but obviously things like Samhain are they're going to have some things in there built around speed, and we've seen a little bit on the Warhammer community article about how things function, a little bit of synergy there. You're going to see some things that may make you want to go with the Wraith build.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm going Beltane, and as evidenced by my Instagram feed, you can see some of the things up there.
Love it.
Yeah, but I don't know how I'm going to do it because, as you saw, even that Craftworld had a little bit of Psyker, a little bit of battle, and I'm going to want to play with the Avatar.
Good man.
Get a little Court of the Young King action happening.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of Court of the Young King was you would have a group of exarchs I think one of them gets the honor of sacrificing themselves to wake up the Avatar. I think is what and the rest of them march into battle with the Avatar.
I do seem to remember the Dawn of War cinematic.
Well, I'm doing that.
Do it. It's cool. So does that mean one of your aspect warrior, if you're full fluff, one of your aspect warrior units can't have an exarch?
There you go. It's got to play one exarch down.
One of them has to be what turned into and you should rotate. You should change it from game to game.
Look, when we get our narrative game happening.
Oh boy, let's do it.
Because that's what you're going to be after you bring the Dark Angels over and you play against the Aeldari. Be like, this is
just narrative.
I'm kidding. I actually am a little bit kidding about this. I think that this will be disruptive largely because they're new and there are, I don't know, what is it, 300 pages